Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Tonight we're going to be continuing with our game development project. You see that Okaneki is already in here with us. Welcome, welcome. Before we get too much further in, though, we're going to check in with Pitties. Sure I'm sitting properly here. We have, let's see, Ember. We have Sammy. We had Mason on the bed, and we can see Sherbet at the bottom of the main cat tree. I don't think you can do that cutely. Alrighty, let's see here. Cat indeed. Sammy doing that, making one of her legs look longer than her whole body. Alright, so last we were doing this, we still had this bug, and I know why this bug is happening. So we adjusted it so we're not getting errors constantly. Well, thought we did. Nope. His inside tree is true, returning false. Well, we have a new problem. Well, eventually they would. It's it's likely nicer inside, and it's where the food comes from, and it's where the person that gives them the food comes from. So, being inside. Okay, create mob bodies. Wait. Ah. This is certainly weird. Okay, so what we're seeing right now is that we have an actual error going on, and we want none of these red ones to appear. The yellow ones can sometimes just be cost of operation stuff. Code cleanliness, that kind of thing. But a red one actually indicates a problem, and the way the script seems to work is that it kind of fails silently in some scenarios. Some it can't recover, but some it can, and it just rolls along, letting the function fail. So when it's calling test move on them, it doesn't like it. But why? What else do we have going on in here? So we get a tick, and we go in and we create the mob bodies, and then we add them to the mob pool. This is what puts them in the tree. Do they need to be put in the tree earlier? Let's comment this. Well, they're definitely not all being spawned. We are no longer getting that error, though, so we're on the right track. Hey there, Nuclear. Welcome, welcome. We are trying to do some debugging. Actually need to loop that. That's a different problem. For those new to this particular series, we are doing some game development. We're trying to make a Survivor style game with some nuance to it, and we're very early in the process, so we're not even remotely to the like how do you play it. Hey there, Daystopia. It has been a while, hasn't it? Been quite a while, I think. Has it? My memory fails me. Additionally, for those new to the channel, if you hear me reacting to somebody's comment and you can't see that comment in chat, it's likely that I'm talking to somebody in one of the other two streams. Part of the design of this avatar is androgyny. Hey there, Kristen. I do get a lot of people assuming female, which is interesting. Well, in a topical fashion, a 747. But how we doing, folks? How we doing? So it looks like test move requires that it be in existence. If we do that's fair. That's fair. I can see the bare midriff potentially causing confusion. Warthog, Michael? Okay, what if instead of looping over them before we instantiate all of them, we go through, we set its position, we add it to the world, then we mess with it. I only know a very limited amount of vehicle names. All I remember about the Warthog is I think, doesn't General Electric, didn't they make the horrific minigun on the front of it? All right, Nuclear, well, thank you for swinging through. If you don't return, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Get depth on a null value. Ah, okay. Okay. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. There's a series of shorts that have been cropping up in my feed that I find hilarious. Like Youth Pastor Ryan or something like that. But he has a whole series of, hey, company, what do you do? And the running gag is that they have been, that all of them have done something terrible in their past. Or they have, in addition to making something very benign seeming, they also make modern military equipment. Like the Texas Instruments guys make the computers, like the onboard chips for the Javelin missile. Yeah, it's a float. Okay, let's make sure it's a float. Javelin is a specific type of like anti-vehicular weapon. It's like a missile that goes up into the air and then it comes down on top of like tanks. Because the top of a tank is squishier than the sides and front and whatnot. It's equal to that. So we have to make sure that test collision is actually a thing first. Two things that guide a lot of technological advancement: adult entertainment and the military. It's not equal. Then we use depth here so that we don't have to try to access a null and we don't have to repeat functions. Okay, well, the mobs are still going bonkers because they're spawning on top of each other. That is another thing we need to fix. So if we go into the blob template, spawn mobs. And need Mob pool type. Oh, okay, the spawner. I take it you're a War Thunder fan then, huh? Okay. So it's still the only reason that the bullets work this way is because they don't collide with each other. Monsters collide with each other though. So one possibility with monster collision is to push them away from each other when they do collide. Hey there, Fortnite. Welcome, welcome. We are working on our game again this week. This week a lot. We'll be doing a Phoenix Wright stream, but today and many times this week, more game development. Welcome. Okay. Need to do that. Welcome back, Blank. We did miss a lot of streams last week, so sorry if anybody showed up for a couple that I had scheduled in error on Monday, but glad to be back. Glad to see you folks again. Okay. So we need a mechanism for breaking the collision that happens with the blobs. And we could put that in the spawning logic. So pretty much right here, or maybe here, we could do a collision test and start to, like, slide them away. Hey there, Ethan. We're really just getting started. I remembered that I still have to fix the mob spawning on top of each other problem. I'm not sure, Blank. It depends on what you remember us last doing. Okay. So this isn't really doing anything. Yet. We do need to loop this. So what we want to do is we want to move it, really. This will make it slide forward in whatever direction it was going to go. Not colliding. False. I think we can do a while. This. Okay. Look up this symbol real quick here. What does it return? Okay, returns true. All right, all right. So it's this is what we're doing instead. So while this happens, we're going to repeatedly execute this and see what happens. So this first volley shows us a glitch, and that is that the targeting is not preserving the direction initially. And we need to get that. So the first time it fires, the targeting of it doesn't work. Which means it doesn't get this nice orderly spread. All right, so now we've got that. Now we're gonna add a couple of blobs to each spawn, and we'll see if they still go wild. Oh, okay, it hangs. Bit of a non sequitur there, Ethan. Okay. This is changing the velocity, but it doesn't actually change its position. That means... Did somebody mention something that would need a... You have to put a conversion kit in it. I don't know what that was pertaining to. Okay, this is we're detecting if there's a collision. If there's a collision, we want to move it out of the way. There is Mason. Right there on the tan blanket. Ah, yeah. I was just wondering why you mentioned it. Okay. Oh. You adopting some siblings or something like that? Okay, if we spawn a blob and it has started to move, it does have... Unclear what you mean, banana. Nice. I mean, it would be appreciated, banana. But not necessary unless you want to. Okay, but what about a mob that isn't moving initially? I think that would still work. Yeah. This guy is meowing at me. There's plenty of food, but hopefully it is not food that he's looking at. Ew. We'll see if that is the case. Okay, so we need to move them. And we can't be sure that we're not going to get a collision each time. So this is its first collision. Like, if it moves and it collides, then will there be a problem? All right, Ethan, thanks for joining us. Because we don't really care about its velocity. Don't really have a way to get its hitbox size, though, I don't think. But we don't ultimately need to. Depth will do it. Depth will do it for us. Okay, so what if we bounce it back away from the player? If that happens, if it would collide with the other projectiles, it moves away from the player when it happens. Or if it would collide with whatever it is over top of, it will be pushed away from the player. Okay. So we have the collision depth. This is how much they overlap. So we're going to push it depth away from the player each time. Mission equals, so we're going to add. Dawn Trail pre-orders are up, huh? Anything fancy in the pre-order there, Tass? Okay, so we need to get the vector that is... Hey there, Alex. Well, they're consistent, Tass. This is called GD script, really. This is the scripting language that is associated with the Godot engine. I mean, the cloth map is cool. A lot of games used to do that. I remember Clouds of Zine had that, as well as like 13 floppy disks to install it with. Might have only been 12. But it was definitely more than 10. Came with a whole stack of them. Okay. A body. Is it so there's a vector to move toward. Okay. Hey, what's your problem, Sky? I don't know if have I added something. We're working on that. So we more or less have some of the projectile generation logic in place, the sort of modular behaviors in place. We don't have all of it. I do want the ability to sort of daisy chain projectiles together. Like, you know, make one orbit the other, make one appear when the other one impacts, or as the other one's flying, that kind of thing. Get some Noida / Magicraft stuff going on. Bio prototype. It's bio prototype. Get some of that going on. I'd like to get that rolling. Move position. Board. Then we go body. Position. Hey. Sir. This guy is in full I want attention mode. I'm going to try giving him some food. We're going to take a quick break in order to do that. But we will be right back. Sometimes when Sky really wants attention, what he's trying to tell me is he wants food. But it's largely indistinguishable from I just want attention. Be right back, just a moment. Well, it looks like it was food. Settling in. All right, we're back. Mason ran over for some food, too. By how much? Okay, for every collision that it encounters, it's going to shift the position of the thing away from center screen, essentially away from the player. So this creates the vector of the player from the player to the thing that's colliding, and it moves it by the overlap of the sprites. Hey there, Nami. Welcome, welcome. It would seem we are crashing. Okay, this is infinitely looping. Yes, hello. Why you loop? Oh. We're going to refresh this. That's why it was looping. All right, well, it's still looping. And interesting concept. Interesting thought. I would not have thought that. Or to move. Be the test collision. Bases it on the transform. Okay, changing its position is not changing its transform. Let's do that again. So test transform, 1 and a 0. We have a position here listed. Hey there, Ghost. We are, to some extent, bouncing our heads off of the collision logic. We are trying to make a Vampire Survivors style game, really. Right now, what we're coding is we're trying to set up logic so that when two monsters spawn on the same spot, that they slide out of the way. But I get the impression that we might be running into a problem on that front, in that the vector of collision is what we really need to work on, because the objects are still going to overlap with each other and kind of keep sliding back. This is per mob spawned, so this should get it out of the way. Equal to... We're going to try to brute force this a little bit. What? This is odd. Translation rotate. Okay, so it's translation is what we care about. This would be 3 vector 2s. Frank, there is another YouTube stream that is in widescreen format. You are looking at the tall view stream then. Indeed, that cat is that one is Mason. That one is Mason. Good opportunity while I'm pondering. Let's see, we have a bit of sky moving at the lower right corner of the play area. Ember is still across from the keyboard, snoozing comfy. Let's see if camera 1 will behave for long enough tonight. Camera 1 is unreliable. One of these times, I'm going to change the cameras out for some power over Ethernet jobbies. Get some fixed view ones, because I don't really need the pan tilt on them. Hey there, Demon. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So we do a test move. And we get its transform. So what if we move its position, and then we do test transform Don't really need test transform. Right? Hey there, Rouse. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. And I am doing okay. Sleep isn't fully in line, but more in line today. Okay, so current progress. We have the general concept of map generation in place. We don't have colliding objects in that generation. That'll be next. Well, that'll be later. But we have sort of like a tiling system that generates the world as you navigate it. We have the player in place. There's some stuff that I want to change about the player, but the basics are there. Like, for the current phase of development, the basics are there. We have the concept of creatures. We have the concept of autonomous movement. Like, we specify how they move, and they move that way. We have the basics of projectile generation. Like, specifically, this is for the purpose of weaponry in the game. And we have that same sort of autonomous movement. It's the same as the mobs use. And we've also made it so that movement patterns can be kind of chained together so that you can get... ideally, what we'll have is the ability to dynamically alter weaponry as the game progresses. It's meant to be kind of a roguey game, so once you make your choice, you made your choice. It might make your run end. Okay, still freezing. It's freezing in here yet. So if we come in, the transform is that. Hey there, Keats. Welcome, welcome. Still frozen. Oops. Doing okay. So let's look up the symbol again. Okay, we're going to have to do a messier check here. So we don't really care that it returns true or not. What we care is if a collision gets generated. March 28th. Let's see. No planned stream on the 28th. We have one today, one tomorrow, and nothing planned on the 28th. Not to say that it's impossible that I would. I'm looking at potentially doing some ad hoc streams now and again, but that's not on the schedule. Okay, the transform isn't changing, so that's not helping. If zero. Oh, that's a very nice sentiment there, Keats. we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to have to do a primed loop. I don't like that, but... Why am I wearing what? Do you mean this really nice crispy lab coat that I have on? That was definitely a gift given consensually? It's like saying it's a nice thought, Keats. Welcome back, Michael. Oh, the cat ears? Because those are the ears. Like, those are the only ears I got. You were here moments ago there, Michael, I think. Were you? Thinking somebody different? I must be thinking somebody different. No, you were here moments ago. Hey there, Skylar. Kitty, ooh, how about that one? Don't need that. Yeah, I do recall you from earlier, Michael. You... Okay, we don't actually care about them moving the direction that they're moving in. Yes, I do recall. It happened earlier in the stream, yes. Okay, we're gonna start with a... collision test vector. Spelled correctly. We're still stuck on generally the same thing. We want the blobs to kind of move off of each other when they initially spawn. This isn't quite what we want still. Pepbot factory is located in the US. So one of the things that I could do is move it by its the initial collision vector and just keep pushing it that way. But there's no guarantee of an actual collision vector. And I don't want everything just firing off in a straight line. Like, I'd like some sort of like, oh, you're ways out there. We do encounter folks from all over the world. Had a few UK folks come through regularly. We've had, now I can't remember, but it was kind of West Asian, I thought. So what we're trying to do here is when we add a creature in, we only have the one spot that they're being added. It's wherever the spawner is. But we want to be able to place them and have them kind of bounce off of each other. So one possibility what if... So we tell it to move a teeny bit. When it appears. Imperceptibly move. But what if we take its movement vector? Moving the movement vector should be enough. If it's not moving, then we need to move it. Okay, okay. So this is the problem with the test movement, is that the transform isn't changing. Oof. Like Bolhui. I get the impression from the look of it that there are accent marks in there that I can't see. Because we need to move them off center a little bit. If they were off center, I suspect they would pop loose. Hello there, Naruto. And hello, Fraggy. Welcome, welcome. We are currently firmly pressed into the wall that is this collision problem. But Sammy has come to sit with me, so that's okay. Sammy is the little tuxedo cat. The one that you can see on screen currently is Mason. We'll do another distraction there. Let's see. We can spot Ember over there scratching at the carpet for some reason. I wonder if there's something there. That kind of scans there, Michael. Anybody else visible? Nope, nope. It's hello, Sammy. Okay, so we set an initial position, which is the spawn position. What if instead of just the spawn position, we wiggle it a little bit? I will call out one of the channel rules uh, is don't be rude or antagonize people. So I would put out there that doing things like saying, I'm going to jump or any of those other things that might trigger people to think of a particular form of self-harm is imminent falls under rude or trauma dumping. So please avoid doing that. If you are in a situation of crisis and do need help, there are numerous help hotlines out there for those situations that are very easy to look up and find. I would advise that you do if that sort of circumstance is really something that's happening. Definitely seek aid. I am not a psychological medical professional. But it's something to be careful of joking about because it is a serious thing and, you should take action to correct the issue, I should say. Okay, so we don't want it to be right on the spawn position ever. So we're going to take we're going to take a random vector plus vector 2 up, rotate what is it? Float range from 0 to 360. Okay. Normalized. Okay. So what we're trying here is we've got a spawn position. Now we're going to add a very small bit to the spawn position by taking a vector that is I think it's 0, 1, and then rotating it a random amount of 360 and setting the position to that. So we're just going to do a quick test. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's working. That fixed it. Yes. Now it's not ideal because they're coming in kind of a line. Let's amplify that. Okay, so what happened here? Might not even need to add the mob bodies here yet. But we will just in case. Actually, no. We're going to add them. We're going to do this again and see if it if it's still fixed. No, chatting this much is fine. Now, if there's enough chat, I might miss something. It will scroll too fast for me to notice. All right, still functioning, still functioning. Let's do a truly bizarre number of blobs here. Viewership is very volatile, yes. Okay, 10 of them aren't spawning, though. I don't like that they're spawning all in a row, like in a line. It's not what I want. So we're going to do by a half square, which happens to be 48. Well, I totally broke that. Okay, but the blobs are coming in a more random pattern now. Okay, okay. We don't want this. This is not how we want it to act. We only want it to change this if there's a collision. Okay, so first we have to test a collision. Let's... Okay, I had to jump through some hoops to get this code back. So if there's a collision, we're going to add a random value to it. If pass here. Okay. So if there's a collision, if we test collision, if collision does not equal null, then we're going to add in the randomization factor. because we don't want to add that unless there is actually a collision. Hey there, Pixel. Ember is deciding if she wants to come join me or not. Oh, come on. Ember is my smallest cat. She's also one of my chattiest cats. Second is Sky, but Ember is the chattiest. She seems to recognize her name. Oh, but hello everyone and welcome. We are doing some game development, and by that I mean we're doing a lot of debugging. All right, Naruto, thanks for joining us. If you're back later, great. Otherwise, have a nice night. And that. Don't need that. Let's it do be like that sometimes. I mean, we could check and see if the things we're spawning collide with each other, and then juggle them. I wonder if that would work. This body is about probably about 3 years old at this point. The engram that I obtained in an entirely non-violent and consensual fashion is older than that. Don't think that'll work because I would have to have full knowledge of what layer it is. To give you an idea, Michael, if I answer a question like that with a answer about the character, that means that I won't answer the question. It gives you a little bit of character snippet in there instead, so that you don't just get no. I am. I stream in 2 different formats on YouTube, and I stream on Twitch. That's all happening at once. Hey there, Conduct. I have a widescreen view and a tall format view going on YouTube at the same time, and then I do widescreen on Twitch as well. To the prior comment, Billy, I don't answer IRL questions like that. I know that's some sort of like modern parlance or meme or something like that, but it does not understand. Good question, Conduct. Chat be chatting. YouTube is my primary platform there, really. The video descriptions do ultimately have a link to Twitch, I think, in the link tree. Indeed. Mason is having a nap. You're getting a lot of errors in the error log here. Oh, that's right. That's right. We need to do this first. Ah, okay. 1 second here. Ah, okay. So you're in a different chat. I was mentioning I have 2 different YouTube streams going on at the same time here, as well as the Twitch stream. Michael is in the other YouTube stream. One of them is widescreen, one is tall format. Okay, well, the blob's still rocketing away. So we've still got that problem. She having a bath, and then she's probably going to nap some more. Backflipping is not really in their repertoire there. Ah. Some people do be like that, I guess. Are we ever getting that? We are not. Okay, that's the problem. That's a problem. We need a collision test. We need to just say, is there a collision with this object? We'll check that more in a moment. Be right back. Yeah. Welcome back, Naruto. Okay, so we've mitigated those errors. What else do we have? I wonder. Collision mask. So what we want to be able to do is see if they would bump into each other. I'm sorry, if the object would bump into itself. So if we look, so a body has a layer and a mask to it. One can hope, Michael, one can hope. And if, so the layer is where it lives, and it can live in multiple layers at once. Let's see here. So we have walls, players, enemies, objects, bullets from the player, and bullets from the enemy. So, for example, player bullets don't collide with the player at all. So the bullet lives in the bullet layer, which I think is 5. But the bullet itself does not scan into layer 0 or layer 2, the player layer. And welcome back, Okaneki. Chat be doing chat things. Why would collision mask be in? Why would these return an int by default? We continue to debug there, huh? We continue to debug. Okay, a brute force way that we could do it would be to check layer to layer, but what I really want to know is if there is a collision. The stream has been going for about an hour and a half, and we've got about that long to remain. Okay, I don't feel like this is working how I think it's working. Because it says it returns true if a collision would stop the body from moving along the whole path. So maybe we don't care about that. No, we're never getting the code that we wanted to get into. So we wanted to get into here. It's supposed to be if a collision would stop it from moving the whole distance. Okay, you know what? You know what? We're going to have... We're going to have that. We don't want them offset at all. And that's what this does, is it offsets them if a collision were to happen, but we're not getting one. And I think part of the problem is this. So let's go in. I'm gonna have this. That should be firing. How is that? Okay, that should always be happening. Okay. Here's an idiosyncrasy of the editor here. When I put a breakpoint right here, that is on a blank line. So what I'm guessing is when the script is compiled, and it does runtime compilation here, that is Ember there, Okaneki. When the breakpoint was here, it was on a blank line. And I'm guessing that gets culled. So a breakpoint on that gets ignored. But if we put the breakpoint here, it works. Okay, so mob body. You have a transform on it. Okay, the mob body is at 0, currently. Then can we see a transform? Ember is indeed cute. She's a little sweetheart. She has little white socks. Her forepaws just pretty much the end of the paws, like just over the toes, more or less, and little longer socks on the hind paws. Let me scroll up here. Yes, we are coding a game. We are trying to code a game. Right now, we're stuck on some collision logic. We want the monsters to when they spawn on top of each other, not to have the collision detection go bonkers. We want them to form kind of like a cluster and go from there. And if I randomly position the mobs a little bit so they're not right on top of each other, that would work. But we don't want that to happen all the time, because that will disrupt the projectile logic. Okay, we're gonna do some debugging here. 2D transform. I could set the collision to false, but the collision will need to be true almost right after that. Like within a frame, it would have to be true. And since they're still right on top of each other, we still get the same problem that they can't like glance off anymore. So that's what we're facing right now. So what I'm going to do is to all body transform. We're going to break right here. We'll break right there so that we'll see what the transform is. Collision is true for monsters so that they don't fully overlap on the screen. I don't want there to be like 10 monsters like hiding on top of each other. Okay. So initially, we should have the transform now. So this is its 0-0 transform. So then we are going to move one step. And we're going to look at the mob transform. Okay, transform does not change just from that. So then we do the transform again. Now we look at the transform. It did not change. Okay. Just changing the position does not change the transform, which we use for the test movement. New. I'm developing it in a manner that would allow it to be mobile or desktop. If you can see, probably not, it's tiny, but there's different methods of compatibility, essentially, for the Godot engine. I'm using mobile, and what that will do is make it so that it works pretty much everywhere. But you can make it so that it works like primarily on PC or similar kind of stuff. Okay, X is a vector. What do I do with that? So I want to be able to update the transform of the... So I believe what I want to change is XO. All right, Michael. Make sure that you account for your own needs and personal obligations when you're watching the stream. don't want to lose too much sleep or endanger getting to your job in time or school or what have you. But I appreciate you watching with us. So, just speaking out loud, lots of debugging, muttering here. Our problem is we want to do a test, but the mob body's transform does not update just by changing its position. Its position in the world does, but not its transformation. Three vector, two values, x, y, and origin. Explain to me what the x is for. Okay, we're gonna try something. We're gonna set origin. They can move freely, really. The screen is actually scaled up very large compared to what it really is. So in world coordinate space, the distance between the center of two squares is 96 units. So it allows for a lot of on-screen slide of the entities. Okay. Go in there. Okay, we're still never getting that collision. Have a good evening, Michael. Right? Okay, you can see very briefly. If a collision happens, they kind of slide off of each other. Well, assuming it's not an overlapping collision like we're getting. If you saw very briefly on the last test, one of the blobs went flying across the screen to the left and briefly stopped and kind of jittered in place. That's what happens when you have a perfectly overlapping collision. They can't, like, slide properly. And hello there, cats. No worries, no worries. Glad you could join us. There's never a test collision is the problem. All right, the transform isn't actually being changed. Why does this... Oh. Yeah, I believe so, really. And this works for it. If I can get this line of code to execute, what it will do is it'll kind of slide them out of place just a little bit. And it will make them kind of roll off of each other. Let's make sure we fully compile there. Okay. Are we ever getting here? Hey there, Tatum. Welcome, welcome. Still not working. Is that N-teen? Not sure. Well, either way. Well, somewhat inappropriate there, don't you think? All right, what's your question? Oh, actually. All right, it's really bogging down now, though. What do we got? Obnoxious. Just checking something on how to do something here. There we go. Well, thank you there, cats. I appreciate it. I have been doing this for a few years at this point. Um, and prior to that, I've had some experience in uh, speaking like this, though not my primary role, as it were. You can tell by all the verbal tics, like, don't have full control of my dead space yet. I don't know that I ever will. We need a collision. We need to get a collision out of this, but it's not working. Changing the origin isn't working. So are there setters on this? Let's do this again. Oh. No, there is no relation. That is a fellow VTuber, Okami Sky. I can't recall how we initially bumped into each other, but it is common, at least we have frequently gotten comments asking if there is a sort of relation, because our color schemes are pretty much the same. But no, it's entirely a coincidence. Yep, those are collaborations. We did a fresh playthrough of Monster Hunter World all the way to kind of the end game. She does a lot of Pokemon related content too. X 2 2 X. Yeah, let's try this again. No suffering. The cracks are sadly irreparable without endangering the engram. So, you know, I'll make do. And hello, Peyton. And I've never seen or read Maze Runners. I mean, I've seen commercials for it, but for the movie renditions. Yes, it does. Here. That is the Nano Core. See? It's fully operational. So, oh, yeah, Ember and Sky frequently snuggle up like that, which generally is a little bit of mutual grooming, and then Sky uses Ember as a pillow. Okay, transform did not change. Why does that not change? So without the transform, we can't do a proper collision check. Which game is that, Cats? Are you talking like Hollow Cure or something like that? Okay, we do a new transform. Is X, Y, vector. Okay, I think I can. Let's try that. Transform 2D.new. And it would be here. X. Y. Or do. Just do this. There we go. Body dot position X. Fun fact, Sana. Traveling home, Blank? Are you doing like train or bus or something? Do you mean parasocial? One of the Chilla's art games? Yeah, we played that on a prior stream, which you can see in my VODs. You should watch my VODs, seamless plug. I've tried some Chilla's art stuff. They're kind of variable in quality, but it's interesting stuff. I mean, does a ravioli really have a molten center? Like, what constitutes molten? One would expect hotter than, like, a ravioli. There's a particular amount of, like, heat light radiation that you would expect out of that level of hotness. Spicy stuff. In a very limited sense, Blank. I think it's Maro-chan Maruchan yakisoba. There's a spicy chicken variety, and that's about as far as I can go. The 10th Doctor was spontaneously immolated in a ravioli related incident. There should be a playlist for it's either a playlist for the game in particular. There might be a Chilla's Art in general playlist, but there's usually a playlist for each game that we've played. That sounds like Molten Ravioli sympathizer talk to me. We played Night Security. Still not doing what I want them to do. All right. So, mob transform is not set properly. Oh, wait. No, it is. Let's do a couple more. Nope. Nope. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. This is a blob. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I do. I agree, really. I think the problem is in the way test move is working. I've just got to figure out a way to make it work properly. Now, I don't, Cats, as far as the Chilla's Arts game and many other horror games, I don't like closet stealth games. I prefer like a psychological horror title where it's the setting. It's okay if there's like a death condition, but it shouldn't be more a spooky setting and concept. One I'm looking at that I might try to play, I think I've already picked it up for that purpose, is Chilla's Art has like a, I can't remember the name, but you are patrolling a bullet train in the evening to make sure everything's okay. And it sounds like it's a spot the difference game where you'll pass through a car and you need to figure out what changed because there might be something, supernatural going on. And I love those. I have played all the I'm on observation duty games and some of the spin-offs. Okay, just catching up with chat here. The other params in test move. So we have the transform of the body and the vector of the body to move at, and then what if a collision happens, what the collision is. I wonder what the origins of the driveway and parkway terms are, because sometimes you do have like kind of regional collisions in terms. Like term A was adopted and term B was adopted, but they're different cultural origins. Ember has a waggy tail. If she's really excited and happy, she'll wag her tail. Okay, I think we're caught up. Okay, so let's do mob body.velocity again. So we tried not moving to see if that would produce a collision. Now we're going to try moving again. Reload the scene. Yeah, this transform is still a problem for us. I have been accused of sounding like the captain and his partner in Brooklyn Nine-Nine before. Mitchell, this is a language specific to the Godot engine called GDScript. It has some things in common with a lot of loosely typed scripting languages, structurally and behaviorally, but it does let you do things like strongly typed variables, which I like. This engine can also handle C#, but I'm not using that for the moment. So, Cats, I believe this came up earlier and in a prior stream. I don't know if it was from you, but I will either say I won't answer that question, which I won't answer IRL questions most of the time. You know, vtuber. Or I will give a lore-related answer to it. No worries, I can only put so many rules in the channel rules, but that's something to keep in mind. Is if I dodge the question, it was probably on purpose. Okay, for those joining and who are interested in what's happening, we are trying to make it so that the monsters will appear where we want them to. There's a glitch with the projectiles here when it initially fires, or when it fires and it doesn't have anything to target. But it's working now, and you can see that blob that just went at light speed to the left. It's not supposed to do that. And it's doing that because a whole bunch of them are being spawned on top of each other. And that makes the built-in Godot engine physics have a bad time. You get some real Gary's Mod stuff going on when that happens. Yes. So I stream on US Central Time. Don't worry about it, folks. If it were really an issue, it would be a much sterner conversation, potentially just immediately skipping to like a timeout or something like that. lore related. So a little bit out of character. There are shorts and some Twitter posts that are kind of archived on the Discord server, which you can reach from the link tree in the descriptions of the YouTube videos. But the short version is that the Catbot Corporation came up with a new product line to follow up the mostly popular Catbot line, the Nyanite, and I am the original prototype who has officially and consensually and non-violently been given control of the Catbot factory. And everything is fine. Indeed, Sana, the Nanotype. Don't understand the question, Cats. So yeah, this is definitely our problem here. This doesn't do what we want it to do. But prior to the debut stream for this avatar, there were a couple of videos teasing the plot. Sana, I have 2 levels of membership on the YouTube channel. Primarily, they do very similar things, but with the second one getting videos earlier when I post shorts. But it's primarily, there's a really cheap option, and then there's a standard option. Subscribers, over 4,000 at this point. I don't understand. Have I seen Dano? I might not be getting a term. Now, if only 10% of those folks were like members or something, that'd be awesome. An animal, huh? Giraffe. We need a way to test for collision. This is built-in collision. All of this is built-in collision. I could do custom, but that would probably get fiddly really fast. What I'm trying to avoid is having to make code for the inevitable kind of jiggling that will happen with multi-object collision, where one thing bounces into another, which causes it to bounce into another, that kind of thing. I want the engine to handle that. Otherwise, that's a lot of code that could break on my side. We just want to know if there's an overlap. Because if there's an overlap at all, we can offset it. And as long as... I did not know the reason for the coloration as far as a sunlight exposure adaptation. So the problem with that, dude, is that some objects can coexist. So this logic also handles those bullets. And if you watch those bullets, they spawn on top of each other just fine because they don't collide with each other. This is universal spawning. This is all objects spawn through this. I wonder if we can add a tiny bit of jiggle to this. Okay, we're going to comment this whole mess. And we're going to do this. Okay, it's still not what we want. I'm not into FNAF at all, cats. FNAF feels too much like closet stealth to me, in that it is a creatures moving around and you have to hide from them by getting in a box, going under a bed, jumping in a closet, you know, putting a bucket over your head. Doesn't matter. I don't like that kind of structure. Okay. So now so what this does is this adds a tiny little bit of distance around each one. It's still not doing everything I want it to do. Like, it's pretty much imperceptible with the projectiles. So I'm not worried about that part. What I'm worried about is that they appear in a row like this. They just slide apart, because left to right seems to be the default kind of collision bump. And I don't think we're getting all of them as a result of that, because there's supposed to be 10 of them. I do not, Quandale. The name doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry. But that happens to me a lot. If you remind me, then I might be able to. We are getting closer. Yeah, that's plausible there, really. That's plausible. Let's see. Yeah, we need to do a lot more. Yeah, see, we see this cluster. That one had the jittering. It wasn't moving them enough. This one was okay. Like, this one kind of bobbled properly. So we're still... Well, I don't want them to spawn in the same spot, is the trick. I want the system to be able to say, hey, a cluster appears here. So, like, it wants 10. without it being like rapidly spawning, that it would spawn them in blobs of 10 every so often, as opposed to like every fifth of a second it spawns one in order to get 5 a second in 1 second. But shockingly, just need non-overlapping areas. Can we... I think we're back to needing to know that they collide with each other. If they collide with each other, then I can randomize it that much more. Where it's still possible that we get a bit of an overlap. Sure, let's take a look. How about... Oh, we got a double. I have 5 cats, really. Okay, so can we determine if an object would collide with itself? Because that's the only time this matters. They are very similar looking cats. Sherbet and Mason are... I don't know if it's that they have the same father or mother. I think it's that they have the same father or something like that, but there were 2 different litters born about the same time, and they were all kept together. So they look very similar. There's some definite differences in like body form, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I have those 2. They're all domestic short hairs except one. Sky is pretty close to a long hair, if not a long hair. But I have a diluted, a tuxedo, those 2 buff and white ones. Catnip is pretty popular amongst mine, but generally, Sky is not susceptible to just about anything except greeny treats. He likes those. The others like those just as much, but catnip, the little treat tubes, those kind of things, he just doesn't care. If we know that they collide with each other, then we can add logic that spreads them out so that they will not collide with each other easily. Like, we could have iterative logic to rotate it around in like a spiral so that we know that they'll kind of blob out. So, is there a good way to do that? Okay. All right, thanks for joining us, Sana. There are a lot of very food-motivated cats, Naruto. And no, it wasn't really a scary thing, cats. Oh. And thanks for the donation, Sana. I appreciate it. And I'm glad to see my alerts are still working. That's right, really. That's what we're shooting for. Is on an interval. So this spawner object is configured to have an interval in a thing that it spawns. So every so often it will spawn what it wants to spawn. And that spawn could be like 10 things at once. So maybe we just need a toggle. You know what? We can dodge this whole problem. Let's dodge this whole problem. Where is it? Pool type. Oh. Okay, we can dodge this problem. Easy enough. Where is it? Global nodes. So what we're going to do is we know if a particular mobile object is a monster or not. Let's close all this. Close docs. There we go. Where's my global nodes? If it's a type 0, it chooses the spot. The monster spawner currently is actually moving around the edge of the screen just off camera. And that's how it chooses a spot. Well, I can tell you, cats, it definitely wasn't related to any sort of like violence or, you know, quote unquote insurrection or anything like that. It was definitely from the prototype experiments. Usage of terms like uprising or revolt are just media sensationalism. Okay, so if it's a monster, if mob pool type is 0, so then we go into our spawner. We go into here. We don't need the transform. If uh-oh, do I not have that anymore? Oh no. Mob body is character body 2D. Oh no. Okay. Really, that's what this does. What this does is it says, okay, take 0, 1, take up. Hey there, Ishmael, welcome back. And then it rotates at a random degree between 0 and from 0 to 360. So it will kind of point that in a random direction and normalize it. So it's a very small number. This isn't a big enough number. It does need to be a slightly bigger number. I mean, we could have like have a box. If we did ultimately, dude, that's what this will do. Now, if I do a random, if the normalize has a random function from 0 to 1, not without 0, you know, it cannot have a 0 on the vector. Cats, I have 2 YouTube streams going right now, and I also have a Twitch stream. There's the vertical form and the wide form YouTube streams. If you're watching through vertical form and you would prefer to see it in like full screen mode, you can switch over to that. Twitch shows the widescreen format too. Autocorrect is a real problem. So we could multiply that, but what we need to do here is when we are getting... Where are we getting the mob body? There is a... There's a point at which we instantiate the template. That's what we're looking for right now. Where did I put that? There's the movement template. Okay, okay. Mob to spawn. Here we go. Mob to spawn. Mob template. Okay, okay. If mob to spawn dot mob pool type is 0, then do this. Times and F range from 1 to 48. Later this week, we will be streaming the Ace Attorney, the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy games. We still have a lot to get through with those. I'm hoping to play those at least once to twice a week because I want to keep moving through them. Okay, if it's a mob, we will randomly reorganize it. Ta-da! finally. Okay. Yep, groups of 10. So right now, the whole character interaction is the upper left there. Is if a blob touches you, your health drains by like X a second, X a frame kind of thing. That's not how it's going to be long term, but it's a placeholder. Yay! We accomplished something. It absolutely wasn't what I thought we were going to do today. But such is coding. Such is coding. And hey, look, no errors. No actual errors. These are warnings. They don't count. So if you've ever looked up programming memes, they are absolutely true. Almost universally, they are true. Good point. Let's go in. That is in where? Where? That is in the game scene. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember what it is now. That's not in the game scene. They changed that. Game script. So in process, every frame. What was it? QA tester walks into a bar. Orders what? Or I'm sorry, software engineer walks into a bar, orders 1 beer, orders 1 million beers, orders 50 beers, orders negative 50 beers. It keeps going like that for a while, and then it was player walks into the bar. That's where the bathroom is, and the whole place bursts into flames. Well, thank you, Ishmael. I appreciate it. Where did I put that? Ah, here we go. Okay, let's take a quick look at this. Okay, it's 10 to the edge of the screen. So that's 960 to the edge of the screen. Okay, so we went a little further. Okay. Okay, they should take a little longer to appear because they're appearing half a screen to the edge of the screen. How many monitors? I have 2 working monitors. The one where this coding appears is the primary one. It is the good one. And then I have 1 working and 1 broken monitor that is the streaming computer. And yes, Potato, that is a squishmallow. That is one of the things that the cats like to lay on. That is definitely sherbet laying there. None of the other cats get his sort of contortionist coziness. So earlier you were asking really where we were. Hey there, sniper. This particular weapon, really, this was an experiment to do like early testing. This one fires at a random enemy. It just picks an enemy at random and fires at it, which means all of those things to the back also count. The fact that it's firing 3 projectiles is due to this code that we were working with. This spawner code encompasses that kind of stuff. Happily, cats, YouTube streaming has a couple of advantages in that way. Twitch streaming can recover. A scheduled YouTube stream can recover pretty easily. Let's check in with the kitties while we're talking. As long as the streaming computer doesn't crash, then we're in pretty good shape. How long have I been doing the game? A few weeks now. We generally code on it like 3-ish times a week. So maybe, 6 to 12 hours a week tops. All right, really. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for your assistance. Is it hard? Not really. It's more... I want to do it right. I don't want to just do it. And, that's correct, Tess, for some values of hard. It's kind of a programming mindset. You essentially have a moving goalpost at all times. And Naruto, it's one thing to know what you want to accomplish, and that there are ways to accomplish it. It's then putting those into practice and making sure they work right. In any event, really, I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a good day. Let's see. Some of these. Why is the cat on the box? Do you mean the one that's on the tree, or do you mean the rectangles that some of them are laying on? If you mean the bottom left. Okay. The tan rectangle is a folded up blanket. It is soft and fluffy, and he likes that. As you might be able to tell. The little black rectangles are heating pads. They're kind of warm to the touch. Oh man, Sammy's on the shelf. I just realized that. Sammy's over on the shelf. I do too. I like animals too. I particularly like cats. I've had a few. The most cats I've ever had at once is 7. the group has cycled a little bit. My first two cats were a pair of Maine Coon brothers. Big old boys. And actually, they were way smaller than their father. They actually took after their grandfather. So they were about the size of small dogs. Black cats are cute. Black cats are definitely cute. Though frankly, all kitty cats are cute. Well, they can be. I mean, there are some cats that are just straight up mean. Let's see. So, of my cats, Mason has the coarsest fur. And it's not like rough, but it's like the hairs are denser, you know. Next, as far as softness, is probably Sammy. It's definitely soft. So Mason and Sherbet are male. I'm sorry, Mason, Sherbet, and Sky are male. These are all altered male and female. And Ember and Sammy are female. It's all superstition, Naruto, the whole black cat thing. It's long entrenched superstition. Additionally, though, I don't know if it's really a recent thing, but kind of internet memes center around the behaviors of particular types of cat. And it has, it's become kind of exaggerated. Like, it's always been the case that people will assert, oh, this species is mean. Or, I'm sorry, this breed is mean. But that's not true. I mean, I've encountered like Rottweilers and similar that are the friendliest dogs. I have encountered cats that are supposed to be really laid back that are the most vicious little things. I know an orange cat that is just terribly vicious to everybody and sort of tolerant of her person. Like, her particular human, she is tolerant to. Like, I will sit near you, and as long as you don't move in any way other than to pet me, and only to pet me exactly right, then I will tolerate you. Everybody else risks. That cat has what I call the kind of a 3 strikes rule. She will meow in exactly the same tone up to 3 times. If they are, I didn't like what you did, meows, the 3rd time means you're going to bleed. But the same vocalization, the same meow, is I liked that. Keep doing it. All of my cats are really friendly. Some of them still really skittish. Sherbet is still really skittish around people. Like, I can't trim his claws. Sammy will only just barely let me trim her claws. But all of them are to the point where they will periodically come over and sit with me, that kind of thing. The background music is pretty variable. I should have a link in the video descriptions on YouTube to a Epidemic Sound playlist of the music that I use. I I would like to credit all of the individual artists, but I have like 30 something tracks on this playlist, and descriptions can only be so long, you know? Sammy was originally a barn cat. Now, up until she was about 1-ish, she was a barn cat. So her acclimation to human beings was very limited when I adopted her. She adapted much better than her brother did. Her brother stayed a barn cat. Oh, I'm sorry, cats. Yes. Well, sort of. Sort of. It is a lab coat. Most of a lab coat. Let me show you. See, it's a very anime lab coat. Given in a completely gift-like fashion. 100%. The burns were there when I got them. Well, when I got it. But I think we're going to start wrapping up a little bit early, folks. Nice to have a little bit chat wind down here. We could start something else, but I feel like I want to end the coding on a victory. Instead of starting something new that will inevitably catastrophically break. So let's see. We still have more weapon patterns to work with. I want to start having some additional ones. Maybe some images. Like more sprites to work with, but that's, you know, whenever. We got lots of placeholders. I also want to add some logic for culling monsters that are too far away or recycling them. We'll see. Vampire Survivors does that sort of like the monsters wrap around kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see. Here. Once again, let's zoom in. We still got time. That is the Nano Furnace. That allows a nanotype to actually ingest things. It gets absorbed into the nano fluid. It's entirely safe, but you really shouldn't, you know, put your fingers near it or anything like that. So, cats, the near future, I think I've got it scheduled for Friday. We're going to be doing the Apollo Justice game. Off stream, I've been playing Helldivers and Dragon's Dogma 2. I hope the game will be good, Naruto. I hope that we finish it. Cats, this is a 2D avatar. Maybe someday, far in the future, we'll think about something 3D. But that's a whole lot of kit and an investment. Yes, live 2D looks a lot like 3D. The process for creating a live 2D model, the animation, like how I can move around, is a lot like 3D rendering. I really respect the artists that both that created this avatar, but also that do that kind of work, because it is it is an extensive skill. All right. But with all that said, I want to thank everybody for coming to join us today. If you like what you saw and you haven't already, consider liking, following, subscribing. Just push all those positive buttons. Most of them are good. Yes. Got distracted. Our next stream will be tomorrow. It will definitely be tomorrow. It's going to happen. I don't know if we will start early or not. I am thinking of having some of the tall form streams start early and then have the wide format pick up later. I have bandwidth limitations before the normal starting time. But we'll see. But again, everyone, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.